In the world of video games, some things are certain. Mario games having the same story, Valve series never reaching the number 3, and Sonic games continuing to get worse and worse and worse. Sorry, I'm just stating facts. One other aspect that infests the gaming landscape, whether it be good or bad, for better or for worse, are unavoidable, inescapable expectations. Since video games successfully established itself with mainstream audiences as a valid source of entertainment, so has risen the hope, anticipation, and assumptions from gamers all across the globe. Be that as it may, things weren't always like this. It was a slow and steady journey over time to reach the status for enough people to even care about the medium. It's hard to envision a time where video games weren't looked down upon by the vast majority as uncool, nerdy, or violence-inducing. From Columbine and Doom to Jack Thompson and GTA, video games have had more than its fair share of misleading black eyes. I'm not here to debunk rumors and say who's right and who's wrong. That's not the goal of this video. Instead, I'll be looking at the years of progression that gaming expectations have made and discuss what it means to me in today's day and age. There's no expectation without success. It's difficult to pinpoint where this all began, and there is no definitive answer. No single catalyst who was the spark that lit the fuse. However, I think we can all agree that a certain plumber had a big hand in how things eventually came to be. As long as you've held on to a game controller, odds are you've played the original Super Mario Bros. This is an early and unmistakable example of a game exploding in popularity on a worldwide level, setting up expectations for future releases. For a video game, Super Mario Bros. Does everything to a near-perfect level. Smooth and responsive controls, logical and balanced difficulty scaling, creative enemies and level design, and above all else, endless replayability. Kids didn't take all these expertly executed aspects of game design into account when they were playing. All we knew is that we were having a great time playing an awesome game, and that's all that mattered. Sales numbers back this up. To this day, Super Mario Bros. Is one of the best-selling video games of all time, selling more copies than any Pokemon game, any Mario Kart game, and any Call of Duty game. If you don't think that's impressive, I don't know what to tell you. Returning to Super Mario Bros. In the modern day, it still holds up as a fundamentally solid, entertaining, and rewarding gameplay experience for young and older players alike. Although Super Mario Bros. 2 is often treated like the red-headed stepchild of the core series of Mario games, it was, at one time, a highly revered game. As if it wasn't obvious already, Super Mario Bros. 2 was much more than a fresh coat of paint. New characters, new mechanics, new story. Can't believe I'm saying that in relation to a Mario game. Super Mario Bros. 2 has almost nothing in common with Super Mario Bros. As a matter of fact, if you were a fan of the original game, you might be turned off by how different Super Mario Bros. 2 is. Nevertheless, it sold millions. It certainly was a different time back then. Look how these kids hold the controller and the reasons they enjoy Super Mario Bros. 2.
What's good about it?
Birdo. He shoots the eggs out of his nose.
I think it's safe to say this might be the only person to ever exist who enjoys Super Mario Bros. 2 strictly because of Birdo. All good things come in threes. The excitement behind Super Mario Bros. 3 was tremendous. 1989 family-friendly film The Wizard featured the game prominently before release. A feature-length, high-production commercial. This was it. 5 years of build-up. And to no one's surprise, it was a hit. A return to what made Mario, Mario. Welcoming back the jump-happy roots our Italian friend planted. More power-ups, more diversity, more fun. The crown jewel of old-school 2D platformers, an all-time classic and a trend-setting masterpiece. From here on out, every new Mario game was expected to be great, and they were. Another series that followed the same path starred a young boy who believed actions speak louder than words. Similar in sensation, different in style. The first game broke barriers, turned heads, and had people talking. The second game exists and is enjoyed by some. The third game was a jaw-dropping trailblazer that set a new standard of quality. From here on out, every new Zelda game was expected to be great. And just like Mario, they were. Hand in hand with Mario and Zelda becoming household names were the rise of gaming magazines and the information they held. Consumers wanted more new games and anything they could learn about them. Magazines did an outstanding job of showcasing the latest and greatest games, as well as those soon approaching, revealing possible potential. A quick glance at any page was enough to reel you in, hook, line, and sinker. They always had the coolest graphics, cheekiest ads, and energetic layouts, making even the simplest of games look like a day one purchase. As time passed and the new millennium dawned upon us, the way we obtained information on video games evolved from an optional service to on-demand content. Gameplay videos, trailers, and even demos. These were more than words on a piece of paper. Video game publications were now transitioning from corporate-sounding articles and commercials to fan-driven hype machines. There's no better advertisement than word of mouth, and game companies knew this. With magazines and commercials, companies had a tight grip on how consumers could perceive their game, creating many questions that dollar bills bought the answers to. Now, we lived in a world where a preview video or playable teaser was around every corner. Something more tangible, something we could finally really sink our teeth into. Trailers could be watched in crude, slow-loading video players, and demos could be played on a compilation disc or a code behind an instruction manual. Now, videos and demos are so readily available you can come to a conclusion on whether a game looks fun or not within 5 minutes. This information can then be shared almost immediately. This is what made me even want to make this video in the first place, is how effortless it is to have your own individual opinion of something be clouded with other people's expectations before even heading in to playing a game. I say this because it's inescapable. Video games are one of the few areas of the entertainment industry where majority impression is actually a main selling point. If I'm casually browsing through games on Steam, user reviews have a higher priority in their role as a sales pitch, over other essential key details such as developer and game genre. Just like that, the seed has been planted in my head that this game is definitively good or bad. Even if we head over to the Nintendo eShop, I'm assuming the best seller section is showcasing the best of what Nintendo has to offer. These games must be good. On the other hand, when I check out the great deals, I feel like I'm digging through a Walmart rummage bin of games. 11 cents? Surely, this game must suck. Even if it's not a definitive closed and shut case of, okay, I don't need to try this game now, expectation effectively has already played a critical role in your overall judgment of that game. See this right here? This is my brain. Yup, it's my brain. All the water in here is my perception of a game before playing it. I'm told about some game called Undertale. It has a skeleton and Comic Sans or something like that. 3 of my closest friends tell me it's the best game they've ever played. One says the characters are hilarious. Another one says it has an epic soundtrack. The third and final friend says the boss battles are excruciatingly difficult. Expectations set. The reason this is bad is because everyone has different tastes. What I find to be an awesome game, you might not like. One of my favorite games of all time, Team Fortress 2, is enjoyable to me because of the humor the characters provide, impeccable weapon balancing, and the diverse community that plays it. When a friend tells me they're bored and looking for new games to play, and I haphazardly tell them, Dude, you should play TF2, it's one of the greatest games of all time for sure. I've unintentionally made their gameplay experience worse for them, most likely. Not on purpose though, mind you. If that friend has any experience besides TF2 now becoming their favorite game of all time, I've let down their expectations. Which is worse than if they had found the game on their own, jumped in with no expectations, and got pleasantly surprised. You see where I'm getting at here? Now, this isn't a tale of gloom and doom because expectations within gaming are, more or less, just a double-edged sword. Just as much as you can be massively let down by the reassurance and compliments of someone else's thoughts on a game, the same can be said for someone who shares experiences of being underwhelmed or disappointed. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people bash the modern 2D Mario platformers for being drab, repetitive, and taking no chances with the usual formula. I went into those games letting my guard down, expecting to be bored my whole playthrough. Instead, I came out having a better time than I would have if I had gone in with no expectations at all. These weren't bad games, they were great games. In the year 2020, it's difficult to play any game without some sort of expectation of positivity or negativity playing a factor in your mind before going into a game. I'm in no way trying to say it's bad to share information about video games, the furthest thing from it. It's what allows our community to flourish and be as large and as spectacular as it is. Smash Bros. Direct presentations wouldn't be nearly as epic as they were if people didn't post videos of them going absolutely apeshit during them. What I hope to do with this video is to get more people trying out games that they know little to nothing about. Maybe watch the trailer, see if the genre matches your taste, and give it a whirl. My hope in recommending this is that more people will be caught off guard with the amount of quality games in the open market. There's hundreds of thousands of these, and I think if you gave, maybe a few more games a try that you never thought you would have, you'd honestly surprise yourself. Don't mistake this for some sort of indie game propaganda. That's not what I'm getting at here. I'm applying this to anything that falls within the realm of mainstream as well. Unless it's to find out when the release date is, I'm not searching a damn thing about new Pokemon Snap until I play it. I don't want any spoilers, plot events, or opinions entering my mind until I finish it. Regardless if it ends up being a good game or a bad game, I want it to be that because I think that, not because someone else told me. If I can go to theaters with a group of friends or stumble upon a new album on Spotify without any preconceived notion of whether it's subjectively good or bad as to what my tastes are, that's optimal for me. I think the same thing can be done for video games, even though we really have to go the extra mile to secure doing so. The worst thing I can expect going into a game and trying it out for the first time is having my expectations either raised or lowered for no other reason than because I saw or heard it. I can fully admit that I am in a very weird niche minority group of people wanting to experience their games for the first time from a pure, non-biased point of view perspective before going into it. But by all means, if you only want to play games that people never shut the fuck up about, go right ahead. These games tend to legitimately be amazing, so who am I to complain about people wanting to play them? This is what makes gaming unique. There's millions of different options for millions of different gamers. I can simulate driving transport trucks one minute, then hit up some cutie anime beaches the next. Yep, I'm a gamer alright. I do highly encourage you to try a game you know almost nothing about. From a series you love, a series you hate, one you've never heard of, or something you never thought you'd dive into. Give it a fair chance and surprise yourself. You can thank or hate me later. I do strongly advise though not to play Doki Doki Literature Club, because that game is so... You know what, if you want to play Doki Doki Literature Club, go right ahead. But I don't want to hear it if... Just don't come running to me when you don't go to sleep for 4 days straight. I just don't want to hear it.